Hey, how are
Welcome,
you,
everyone.
Kenneth?
We are in.
Yeah,
That
we did
music
it.
gets me hyped up.
Looks like we got a couple of people already on watching it. Hey, we got a hello. That's a very gamer hello wave there. It's good to see you, Ken. How are you this evening?
Good to see you too. How's
I
your week
uh I've been dealing with something that has been just going around my household for weeks. But other than that, it's just been you ever had that week where you don't feel as productive as you'd like to be?
been? Yeah,
Yeah, I've had one of those, and it just is what it is. But how about you?
good. Been another busy week, but lots of busy weeks lately. But yeah, it's turning out well. I'm psyched about tonight. Ready to be back on the air, and
Yeah.
hope our viewers are ready to go too. So definitely. So anything you've been reading this week or watching?
So what we've been doing this week is I always say I've been reading stuff for work, and that's always true. But I had a odd conversation with a fellow pastor who does not believe in original sin. So I've been reading a ton of like door stopping books on why somebody could believe something so in error.
Yeah.
And so I've been reading stuff about that. Was reading a little bit of a book that I have on C.S. Lewis, which has been fun. I just like to read stuff about him. And then that's kind of the reading end. Was watching. We always watch anime, but mostly what I've been doing has been gaming. Just lots of playing. It's called Trails of Cold Steel, and playing that with
Okay.
the kids. It's a RPG. Hey, I see you there. Hey, there you are. So yeah, that's what we've been doing. Watched did we watch any movies this week? I don't think we did. Watched hockey. Yes, I like sports ball, guys. It is that is the only sports ball I watch though is hockey. Just like I like to watch people fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Definitely.
but that's what we've been doing. How about you?
Well, I've been. We watched a movie at church for a men's group, and it was called The Forge, and very good movie. Now, this is the movie we saw. When I first heard the title, I thought we were seeing this,
Nice.
but I was disappointed that that wasn't the movie. But I will say now, when it comes to Christian movies, in my book, they're either hit or miss.
Okay.
Um, a lot of the cast of this movie, The Forge, was actually in the movie um, War Room.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you've seen War Room. I don't know what you think about it. I thought War Room was a miss. And here's why. War Room left me thinking, like believing the impression was, well, if I just pray enough, everything will just magically happen for me. Everything will just fix itself. God will just answer all my prayers the way I want him to answer them, and everything will be fine, which is
Okay.
not reality. God doesn't promise to answer all our prayers the way we want them answered. So that was kind of how I was left with that. So when I saw this, I'm like, that's a lot of the same cast. But the reality is, I was very pleasantly surprised, and I thought the message was really good. They had the gospel in there. It's a great movie for young men, and talking about men being men instead of being men children like a lot of men are today. If you're 35 years old, still living at home with your parents and with no job and playing video games all day, that might be a problem. And that's
Yeah.
what this movie kind of addresses too. But it shows a young man who gets saved, God saves him, and then transforms him and makes him into a man. And it's really good. It's really good. I would highly recommend it to anybody, not just men, women too. But great movie. And I think, I mean, even just for our culture to see something like that would be fantastic. But no, it was really good. It was really good. So
I'm
uh,
looking it up. It was the same people who did Fireproof, I guess, back in the day.
okay, so Kendrick Brothers did it, which they've
Okay.
done a lot of those movies. They did War Room too, and I believe they did Fireproof. And they've done some really good movies. I just think
Okay.
they missed the mark on War Room.
Okay.
I mean, it just tweaked it a bit. Instead of, everyone gets what they want. I mean, prayer is obviously important. We talked about that. God can do whatever he wants. He can grant us our requests, but he may not necessarily do that. The Apostle Paul prayed 3 times for God to remove the thorn from his flesh, and God wouldn't do it. And it was God's sovereign will that he have that. So, but yeah, this movie like hit the nail on the head. And I'm sitting there from the beginning, I'm like, like this, and I was like, by the end, I was like, that was good. I got nothing bad to say about it.
So
I'm
it looks
really
like it came out
about those
in
movies.
yeah, it
Sorry.
looks like it came out in 2015. And it made money. It actually made quite a bit of money.
Yeah, it came out a while ago. So we just decided as our men's ministry that we would show it for the men. The women did it on another thing. So one of our leaders in the men ministry is like, you know what, this is actually a more appropriate for men and what it dealt with. And so, and I told him afterwards, what I just said to you about hit or miss, and he agreed. He agreed with that. He thought the same thing about the other the War Room, but no, it was a good movie. It was definitely a good movie.
Yeah, I don't know what those guys have been up to. The Kendrick brothers. I don't know, because they did Courageous, which was great. They did Fireproof, which was great.
Yeah.
I think those were 2 of their best. The Flywheel was not that good. But then I haven't heard anything of them ever since. Yeah. When you're talking about Christian media, it does seem to either go really good or really lame, right?
Yeah.
Because this is a whole conversation in itself. Christian media needs to be good, but I think Christians need to realize that you can make Christian media and it doesn't always have to be like, and everyone got saved and married at the end.
Exactly. It's not a Hallmark movie. It's not supposed to be a Hallmark movie,
And that's what makes Lord of the Rings great, because Lord of the Rings is a Christian film. That's what, by the way, makes Rocky great, because Rocky is a Christian film, believe it or not. It tells a good story and it has the message behind it. And that's what, you got to listen to Sylvester Stallone talk about why Rocky's a Christian film. Now, it's from a Catholic perspective, but it is a Christian film.
Okay.
The same thing, Lord of the Rings, same thing. It's a Christian film. He wasn't, Tolkien wasn't going for writing a book where everyone gets saved. He was just going to express the Christian message through mythology. And It wasn't about that. It wasn't about everyone gets saved, but it assumes the Christian worldview throughout it. And I think that's one of the things that, in the case of Courageous and Fireproof, it worked in that way. But I just like to see more Christian media made where it's not like the Hallmark movie, where it's good stuff, and maybe it's very raw and very real. But what's the one that came out not too long ago? Hacksaw Ridge was about a Christian man who was saving guys in the Second World War, who was a pacifist, but he was a doctor. He was a medic. It was awful what he went through. And in fact, they had to tone it down because of how much of a hero he really was. And how violent it really would have been. But they need more media like that Christians are, we show who we really are, less the sap where, so I need to be careful here. I do think you need both and. Do you know what I mean? I think you need the Hallmark to get everyone get saved, but I also think you need like the Hacksaw Ridges where you see Christians doing hardcore stuff and being real people. We need more Christians here. Yes. Peaceful said it pretty good. Need more Christians making content, not just specifically Christian messaging.
Yeah. That's good too. Yeah.
It's like, hey, how does, a movie about a cop trying to navigate out of the gray into the black and white, and not everyone gets saved. It's or a movie about getting your kids out of trouble, something like that, and some things that we all deal with. Now, of course, Hollywood's not going to easily glorify people like you and me, but there is there's a lot of good stories out there. Like I'm waiting for Hollywood to make the story of the last battle from World War II.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard about this. It's where the Wehrmacht and the U.S. Army fought against the SS in a castle. Yeah, that's a cool story. It's a real thing. The German army defects and fights alongside our army against the SS, who are all like Hitler was dead, and they are just doing terror campaigns across southern Germany. And so the Wehrmacht and the U.S. Army partner together to stop them from taking over this castle that had all these VIPs in it. And the guy who's the American, like the leader of the American forces, is like if Captain America was real. And it's a cool story, but again, it makes Christians and Americans look cool. So would they ever do that? Just good stories. Or there's lots of good stories out there that are just I wish would be told. But that's great. I haven't heard it. Like I said, I like what the Kendrick brothers do. They have Captain America is real. Yes, and you're looking at him. You're welcome. I love me Captain America. I'm like, so I don't know if you know this, Ken, about me. I think you knew that I read lots of comic books and so on back in the day. I don't read them now because they've gotten terribly agenda focused. But I love like the classic heroes like Superman, Captain America, and Batman. Why? Because Captain America and Superman are just trying to be good because you should just try to be good. Yeah. There's no like torture backstory. They're just like, it's just the right thing to do the right thing. And I've always liked that. I do like Batman. I think that Batman has the original horrible backstory. He's not like all these new guys that they had to add one after the fact. But I love me some Captain America. I'm eventually going to put some up. I have a couple things of them I'm going to put up around here. See, I don't know what to do. This is my office. Do I go professional study or do I go nerd hole?
Well, what you could do is make them so they're two-sided pictures. You just flip them over for like if you're having like a pastor's conference or something, and then podcast, put them back. You could do that.
Yeah, there you go. I have to put up, and I think we're going to get into this next. I have to put up my my pictures of the how they built the schematics of Kirk's Enterprise up on my wall. I need to put them up somewhere up here. But I see we had Geordie LaForge. But speaking of Kirk's Enterprise, I wanted to talk about some news because I know you have some news to share with us.
Yes.
Did you hear that they just announced yesterday about the new Mario movie?
I did not.
So the previous Mario movie starred Chris Pratt. It was excellent. Jack Black played Bowser. I can tell you just as a warning, my little ones thought Bowser was scary, but he was a good bad guy. This thing had made $1.36 billion worldwide. It blew the box office out.
Wow.
So now they're making Super Mario Galaxy. It comes out next year, and it looks good already. So what it sounds like they're doing is that Nintendo is it's basically saying this is ours. We are going to have complete override on anything you want to do with it. And so they're not letting the agenda get in because they don't want to ruin their properties.
Good.
And what they're going to do is they're going to make like a MCU for Nintendo. And so you'll have like Samus and you'll have Donkey Kong and you have Mario and all these characters. They'll eventually put them together and have them do like an Avengers equivalent with Nintendo characters. That's allegedly what they're doing. Which I think would be kind of fun, especially since, next year as well, the next Avengers film is coming out. And I want to like it, but I've been burned a lot.
Yeah, it's hard now. Some of these, are favorites and they just destroyed them. So it's like they come out with a new one. Oh, we'll see, and I figured though, if you go with lowered expectations, the only thing it can do is go up from there. If it's as bad as you think it's going to be, then at least you won't be disappointed because you already expected that.
Yeah, I think doesn't Grogu and the Mandalorian movie come out next year too?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I watched the first. You watched all the seasons of Mandalorian, didn't you?
Yeah.
I watched
Yeah.
the first one, and it was okay. But I just, after a while, I couldn't stand what's his name. He's like in everything they do now too. Pedro Pascal. Just you ever meet that guy who's fake tough?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's kind of that guy.
I don't like him as a person. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to. I mean, I did like the Mandalorian overall. It was slower. I think this third season was pretty slow. I thought the first season was probably the best. And then the episode where Luke Skywalker came in, that was cool. That was really cool. I don't remember if that was the end of the first season or the second season. No, I think it was the end of the second season that he came in, and I don't remember now. Anyway, that was cool. But
I wonder if Disney has the rights to Mark Hamill digitally, like they do. What's her face? Who played Leia?
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, because I know they have the rights to her digitally, like for a long time. Wonder if they're going to do it with Mark Hamill.
Who knows?
Would you sell your rights, digital rights, to a Disney after you died, so long as your kids can make money off of your like Visage digitally?
It depends on what they're going to do with it. It depends on what they're going to do with it. And that's the scary part. So, especially nowadays, if it was 30 years ago, I'd probably just be like, yeah, sure, But now it's like, I don't know. That's they're going to remember me a long time. It might not be the right way. So
they own you digitally. They could put whatever the words they want in your mouth.
I know. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd go for that. But
well, wait till they bring Sean Connery back. They're not going to need new actors. They're just going to digitally buy the rights to these people who are long dead and just start making movies.
Yeah, just about anybody now you can bring back, even people that never were in the movies. Just find an old picture, turn them into an AI character. It's crazy. It's time for a movie review. And of course,
yeah. So
you had to watch Enchanted.
Yeah, so I had you watch Enchanted. You generally, so just so everyone knows who's listening, generally what happens is Ken and I will message each other while we're watching the film, and so this time, though, this is the first time Ken has broke protocol. We don't have a protocol, and he did not message me 1 ounce. I was aware when he was watching it, but that's because his wife tattled on him. I didn't know anything. I didn't know about his feelings, so I'm going into this blind, Ken, as to how you felt about it. I got some questions for you, but what'd you think of one of the most lovely films that has come out of the Disney studios? I think it was coming out 20 years ago now.
Yeah, 2007. It was 2007.
Wow. Yeah. So almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's funny because like the actors, I'm like, oh, wait, it's been that long? But yeah, it grossed at the time in 2007 worldwide little over 340 million.
Okay.
Domestic here it was 127 million, almost 128. The production budget was 85 million. So the funny thing is, all right, no, never mind. I see it. Yeah, the opening weekend was 34 million. But yeah, so 340 million with an $85 million investment. Not too bad. Basically, the movie takes place. So here's the funny thing, Dave. I started out watching that. I clicked it on. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought this was live action. It's a cartoon. So I'm watching, and I'm like 5-10 minutes into it. I'm like, am I watching the wrong movie? So I clicked out, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, okay. It turns into live action. And it's kind of like, I remember this movie faintly back in 2007. I never saw it, but I remember seeing it advertised. So I'm like, okay, so I'm not wasting my time watching the wrong, little girl's movie. So, so it goes into it. We have the cast. Amy Adams plays Giselle. James Marsden is Prince Edward. Patrick Dempsey is Robert Phillip. Adina Menzel is Nancy Tremaine, and Susan Sarandon, Queen Nerissa, and they're basically the main characters in this. So the Wicked Witch Queen, she sends what's her name, Giselle back, basically into the real world, banishes her, tries to banish her there, and Prince Edward, her son, also goes there, and she meets up with Robert Phillip, Patrick Dempsey, who's a lawyer, and his girlfriend is Nancy Tremaine, or Idina Menzel, played by Nancy Tremaine. And of course, it was a very predictable movie.
Sure.
It's a cross between Cinderella and Snow White.
Yeah.
And I will say this. This is probably why I was so silent, because number one, this was back in 2007 when Disney was still making decent movies you could watch for like children.
Wait. Are we about to get a you enjoyed this one?
I'm not going to say I enjoyed it.
Hold on. Wait.
So here's the thing. It's not my type of movie, okay? But after being subjected to the things that you have subjected me to, I could appreciate it in the fact that it was a movie that, yes, I would let my daughter watch.
Whoa.
It had some funny stuff in it. Was it predictable? Yes. Was it boring for me? Yes. But the thing that I liked about it was it didn't have all the woke stuff and the agenda stuff like forced in, like all the newer movies have for kids that are supposed to be for kids but really aren't. It was just probably one of the last movies they did that was actually clean like that. But it really wasn't. It wasn't horrible. Again, it's not my thing. The thing I did like too is it didn't have a lot of music. It was a musical, but technically, I mean, it only had a few songs in it, so it wasn't bad. And there were actually some funny stuff, some funny parts in it. So, as much as I hate to admit it, I can't like bash it real bad because I'm not saying I liked it, but I didn't hate it. So, would I watch it again with, if my daughter said, "Hey, let's watch this," I'll watch it. I might fall asleep through it, but I won't be sitting there like fuming and like, wishing I was dead or something like that. Like some of the other stuff I've seen. So.
All right. So I had to add it that you were Enchanted. Now it's there. And I had to, and then, yes, it is going to stay in all caps. Ken liked the movie.
Well,
or at the very minimum, as this is my wife, he didn't hate it.
That's correct. Didn't hate it.
So did we find? Did I find that I can't? It's too soon. This is just too soon. Did I find the musical that you were like, I can watch this again?
So here's the thing: if this had been the first movie you had thrown at me, I probably would have been like, it was dumb, it was predictable, I hated it. But considering what you threw at me before, this one doesn't look so bad now compared to them. But again, I had to say there was a story. Yes, it was predictable. They had funny jokes, like for adults that would be watching with their kids. That's like your template that you used to have in every kid's movie. You want the parents to go with the kids to the movie. The parents have to have something there for them. Otherwise, they're not going to want to go no matter what, So I think it's kind of one of those movies. So yeah, again, it wasn't terrible. I didn't hate it. I wouldn't go as far to say I would like it though. No.
Wow. Okay. So let's just go through it. You said you'd show it to your kids. You would watch it with your, as she says, with his 25-year-old daughter.
Yes, I would. I would.
Sounds like you got a plan coming up here. Did your wife sit in at all? Did she watch it with you? What did she think?
No, she wasn't in there when I watched it. But she kept. I know I saw her texting everybody else, like, not saying anything. He's not saying he hates it. And I think she got her hopes up too high because I was like, no, don't take that too far. Don't read too far into that. Part of that reason why I was silent because I was dead tired that night too. So.
Okay.
That was part of it. Why I didn't even get on, the chat or anything. But Yeah, it was. Yeah, it
I
is what
think
it is.
I think Glumpian has said it here, which is he's numb to dumb movies now.
Yeah, I got calluses growing in my brain now. That's probably accurate.
Yeah,
It's probably,
and then your expectations have been lowered.
yes, definitely,
Yeah, but I
definitely.
think this is the king of the garbage right now. Is that where we're at? Is this the king of the garbage for you?
It's at the top. Yeah, it's at the top of that pile.
So right now, I've made you watch, um, K-pop Demon Hunters,
Yeah.
which week one you were like, "What did you do to me?" And then you didn't know that there was a bottom, that you didn't know that there
Oh
was
yeah,
a
I
layer.
thought that was it, and I realized that wasn't it.
And then we went to Wicked, and
Yeah,
Wicked, I think Wicked left a mark.
that was the bottom so far.
And then we went to classic Disney, good Disney, and they left you feeling a little enchanted. So right now it seems to be, is it K-pop or Enchanted at number one?
Oh, Enchanted is number one. K-pop is down near the bottom, but it was not like that's probably like 2/3 of the way down on the scale right now.
And then
So
Enchanted is somewhere near. I mean, Wicked is somewhere near a place that's burning on fire.
oh yeah, it's definitely. It might even be below it.
So we have a couple requests. Yeah, make him watch Hairspray. Oh man, musicals are they're the thing. I'm trying to find the musical for him. Hairspray. Oh my goodness.
I consider that for you.
And then I'm still waiting for High School Musical. You need to tell me when to pull that trigger, Glompy, and I will pull that trigger, and then I'll make sure that you're available so that you two can watch it together. And maybe we'll have you on, and you can say how you felt better bonded to your dear old dad by watching the loveliness that is High School Musical.
Well, let's. I know you're sitting there with anticipation.
So what do you got to make me watch? So far, you've done to me Labyrinth with David Bowie, and then next was Cats. So I'm trying to figure out your scheme here. So far, the only scheme I can come up with is there's two things that they both have in common: uncomfortable leotard-looking people, and like incredibly big music stars, because David Bowie and Taylor Swift. So if you're going to stay consistent, then I'm afraid. But are you going to throw something at left field here?
I'm going to be consistent. This movie is from 1978. It's called The Wiz. Now, it's kind of a takeoff of The Wizard of Oz, in a way. It's kind of like what Wicked is for the modern. This is back from 1978. And I vaguely remember this. I never saw it, but I vaguely remember about it. I'll give you just a few cast members just so you can chew on it. Michael Jackson.
Oh.
Diana Ross. Richard Pryor. Those are three people that I'll just name that are in that. And I'll just say this much. Michael Jackson plays the Scarecrow. So
we'll leave it at 4 Oscar nominees.
I have no idea how it rated, but from what I saw, it should be pretty interesting to watch. I actually might watch it myself just to see.
When Harlem schoolteacher Dorothy tries to save her dog from a storm, she miraculously whisked away to an urban fantasy land called Oz. After accidentally killing the Wicked Witch of the East upon her arrival, Dorothy is told about the Wiz. ...
Yeah, should be really interesting.
A wizard who can help her get back to Manhattan. As Dorothy goes in search of the Wiz, she's joined by the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion.
And so the 70s version of the Wizard of Oz, probably. That's what it's
let's see. Does Michael Jackson play all the characters? Or the lip curl on David right now?
Yeah, you are looking a little uncomfortable. You're looking a little anxious.
You're digging out of the memory hole. That's what you've been doing.
I just go through and I find these weird weird movies that some of them I've never heard of, and I'm like, so I am compiling my own list too. Don't you worry about that. So,
well, yes, what is this here? Ken is actually cynically smiling, and then they enjoy each other's pain. Well, it's actually we hurt so that you might laugh.
Yes, exactly. We're doing it for our audience.
We are willing to subject each other to these things on your behalf, dear viewer, because that's what this is about. We'll watch the films, and then just because I'll probably have a toothache after I'm done, and just I'll question my own judgment, and then maybe a little bit of Ken's judgment, but probably mostly mine. And then I'm gonna make my wife watch The Wiz, so I won't be alone.
Cool.
And, you're welcome for that, babe. Just so you know. Oh man.
Well, Dave, you have a Bible topic for us tonight?
Yeah, so we're gonna. This how do you transition from The Wiz to the Bible topic?
I know. That's a tough one.
That's just not what you do here. Yeah, I think Ken. What is this? Is Ken? Oh no. Yeah. He will work on. There's always technical difficulties are just part of our charm. Everybody.
Absolutely. We've had plenty of them.
Yeah, and so as there are increasing technical difficulties, just know that we have difficulties because we care. So one of the things we're going to do, Ken and I are going to work through the next couple of weeks, and I think it's going to be about 3-4 weeks after today. So 3 weeks. And so hang in there. We're going to be looking at, we'd like to talk about apologetics. And so specifically, hey, Rory, we keep it PG here.
He needs a spanking.
Yeah, we are. I love you, Rory. So what we're going to be looking at is the creationism and the creation account over the next little bit. And so we'll be looking at various topics. Ken, now correct me if I'm wrong. You've been to the Creation Museum.
I have. Up there in Kentucky. It's they got the Ark experience, the Ark encounter, and then the Creation Museum. And they've added stuff since we've been there. We were there for, I think, probably 4 or 5 years ago now. I think it was fall of 2020 is when we went, which was like COVID stuff. So we didn't actually do anything else that year. And we went in the about this time of year, and it was an amazing experience. And I would say, if you haven't been there, plan a trip to go. I want to go again. I've been talking about our Ben's Bible study. I've mentioned it several times. We need to get together and go up there, for Men's Bible study, because we're finishing up Genesis, so it's perfect. But I will say, if you go online and look at what they tell you, recommend, they say, plan a day for the Ark, plan a day for the Creation Museum. I think you need 2 days for each, really, to really get it all. At least I did. We didn't plan for that, so I'm definitely chomping at the bit to go back at some point in the near, hopefully in the near future. But it gives you so much information about what's really out there. What things are all about. It's like I'll give you something real quick, Dave.
Sure.
This is a slide. Evolutionists believe that this little thing here turned into this, but at the same time they look at these fossils. You look at the fossil of a frog, right? That's supposed to be 65 million years old.
Yeah.
It looks exactly the same as a frog today. So it's like, wait a second, where's the evolution?
Yeah.
It's like, that's a big elephant in the room. And it's like every fossil's like that, though. Oh, this is 27.3 million years old. Looks exactly like the one we have today, though.
Well, I'll actually, Ken, I'll get into the evolutionary thing. Actually, I'm not going to talk about evolution directly today. I was going to say this while I finish up about the Creation Museum. I hear that they go ham, as in Ken ham, when they decorate for Christmas up there. Like apparently they go like real big for the holidays and they decorate the whole thing out for Christmas in a big, big way.
Oh, that'd be a good time to go. Yeah, we actually, and by the way, we saw when we were there, Ken Ham was there. We got to hear him speak.
Wow.
So that was cool. He's not always there. So we happened to hit the right.
What I'm going to share is something that I think that Ken has shared several times, but why does why is creation matter to Christians? And so just a little bit about, so I'm going to start with people first. People are going to believe something, right? There is no such thing as an atheist. There's no such thing as somebody who is exactly 100% neutral. Every person is going to believe something. Why? Because when God made us, he made us creatures of worship. And so whether you are, you think yourself a science person, really you're just a scientism person. You're the person who's like, hey, got on their bumper sticker, like science is awesome. Really what you're doing is you're worshiping. The Muslim, he's worshiping. The Hindu, the Christian, all of us are worshiping because we're made to worship. The Bible says as much about us, which is that just reading from Romans here, for all what can be known about God is plain to them because God has shown it to them. And so we plainly in our nature are worshipful creatures. The problem is that we have, as Paul expands there, that although they knew God, they did not honor him or give him thanks to him, but became futile in their thinking and foolish in their hearts. We have traded the creator for the creation.
Right.
And so we need creation because it helps us to understand reality. You're going to express yourself spiritually. You can't help it. You will do it. And so it's best if you teach yourself the truth. And so if you're a Christian, you might be saying, that's really not my cup of tea. You need to know this so you know how to protect your mind. So just another point here is, because if you don't have the Christian faith in your head, if you don't have Christian creation in your head, something is going to take up residence in that spot.
Right.
So you're either going to believe, like we said, I'm not going to get into too much today. So you're got to put in evolution. You're going to put in, what did the ancients believe that like the gods like killed the big god and then like we grew out of his back. In cases, or there was already creation and the gods just took these pieces and made everything, or they stole it, or it's just everything lives in the back of a turtle and it's just turtles all the way back. And how you perceive how everything is made impacts on how you interact with the world. So this is the thing, and I got to see what you think of this, Ken. What you believe influences how you think, and what you think dictates on what you're going to do, and what you do dictates on how you live your life.
Yep.
And then how you live your life impacts what you believe.
Yeah.
And so if you start at the jump with creation, that God made the world as it is, that's going to filter down into all of your actions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at all the people today that are suffering from depression and all those and kids that are suicidal. And why is that? They're taught they're nothing more than cosmic accidents.
Exactly.
And life has no meaning. You're going to be on this earth for maybe if you make it 80, 85 years and then you're done and there's nothing to look forward to.
That's right.
If that was my worldview, I'd be depressed too. I'd be an alcoholic. I'd be a drug user, all these things. And so, yeah, you're exactly right. Our worldview as to how everything began and who we are is going to affect our entire life. And a lot of people will self-medicate through life with different things to keep from having to think about reality. You know, it's alcohol is a big thing. That people, they'll go to work, they'll work hard, they'll come home, they'll just drink and they don't think about anything else. They get up and do it again the next day. I mean, I work in construction and I've seen that many times. And, they'll come to work and they'll work. But you could smell it on them that what they do, at night. And so it's like, The idea is you're not thinking. You don't have to think about reality. Either you're busy working or you're in a stupor. And that's how a lot of people live, for that very reason.
And it's really sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what you believe impacts how you act. And so as Ken was demonstrating, if there's nothing beyond what you can see, smell, touch, and taste, then what's the point?
Right.
If God has made everything, then suddenly it changes the way that we have to interact with the world.
Mhm.
Actually, believe it or not, if God made everything, you and I have responsibilities and duties to not only God, but to each other.
Yeah.
And so when God has made everything, suddenly it changes the way that you interact with each other. So, for example, if God has made everything, then we have to look at what he says about what he's made. And so in the case of mankind, we are made in God's image. So what that means practically is that when you look at another human being, you're looking at somebody who looks like God. Like we look like God. Every human being you meet looks like God.
Right.
And it's that changes the way that you have to interact with another image bearer.
Right.
Suddenly you're lying to somebody who looks like God. You're cheating on somebody who looks like God. You're defrauding somebody who looks like God. You're killing somebody that looks like God. You're hating somebody that looks like God.
Mhm.
And if you don't have that idea that God made man in his own image, because that's what the Bible says in Genesis chapter 2, I believe that's right. Suddenly, well, what's the big deal?
Right.
Like, why couldn't you defraud or lie or kill somebody?
Yeah.
And suddenly you don't have any duties to them. Or if you take a different idea on creation, well, God made us, but not them. And that's
Right.
what various pagans believed. Like, well, God made the Roman people, but those barbarians in this part of the world, gods did not care about them. So who cares if we wipe them all out? And in the
Right.
case of people, they basically killed half of the population of France back in the day because they weren't Roman. And so you have these things where different creation stories lead to different things. So, for example, in reincarnation creation society beliefs, who cares if you kill yourself? You'll just come back.
Right. Yeah.
And so I heard this from a missionary. Somebody has said this may not be true, but in certain cultures where they believe in reincarnation, if I can't make it in this life, well, maybe I can, if I kill myself, I can come back in the next life. Maybe I'll be smarter or better looking or better
Start all over. Yeah. Start all over.
chance. The reality is that the Christian is forbidden from self-harm. Why? Because you're harming the image of God.
Right.
And so we have to value ourselves and value each other. And very practically, by the way, if you're made in God's image, that means you have value as to who you are.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about depression. People who think and just, about evolution, if they are descended from an ape or descended from bacteria that just got lucky, you don't have innate value. You don't. What you have is you're just a myriad of coincidences that is no different from somebody else. Life is nothing more than chasing a high or a fad or checking out.
Yeah. Here
God,
for a brief time and then gone.
yeah,
It's like,
you're a wave in the ocean. You are a vapor, and that's a problem. But if he made you, not only do you have value, but everyone around you has value. God stamped his image on us. He molded us by hand. And so when you have this belief that God made it, suddenly you have to change how you interact with other people. And then the last thing I want to say about creationism is if you throw out biblical creation, you have essentially also thrown out every other doctrine in the scripture and every other teaching in the scripture. So, so for example, in the very beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis chapter 2, verse 2 and 1. I'll just pull that up real quick here. You have at the very beginning the whole of the Trinity making everything that is. So this is from the let me read it from the ESV real quick. It said, and the earth was out form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And then God said, let there be light. And so in the first 3 verses right there, when God creates everything between verse 1 and verse 3, or he starts forming things in particular in verse 3, you have God the Father who was there, God the Spirit who's hovering over the water, and God the Son when it says, and God said. And so creationism, you're throwing out the Trinity, which is key to Christian belief. If you throw out creationism again, the next thing you're throwing out is you're really calling into question the character and the person of Jesus. So Jesus talks about how he is in Galatians, like he is the image of the invisible God. All that was made by him and through him. And so when it says God said, you see that acting out in Genesis. Suddenly, if you say, well, creation as the Bible says it is not actually what happened, what you're saying is that God lied.
Yeah.
If God lied, then the rest of the Bible can't be true, because the Bible says God is not like a man that he's a liar.
It calls into question everything.
Yes.
You know, and you can pretty much dismantle the entire Bible that way if you want to, if you have that mentality.
Well, you're like you said, you're in construction. If I destroy the foundation, what happens to the home?
Yeah, the rest of it crumbles. It's not going to last. You know.
Yeah.
If you don't have a firm foundation, then nothing else matters. You can't build something on a shaky foundation, or the whole place will fall.
So, back in the Northeast, not too far from where I grew up and where you grew up, in Connecticut, there was a quarry that they were using to get the minerals needed to make cement. And so this cement was used. They put it in roads, they put it in houses, they put it in foundations and in basements all across Connecticut. What they didn't know was there was a defect in the minerals coming out of this quarry. And so the basements and the foundations were starting to rot on hundreds of homes all across Connecticut. Because
it wasn't just Connecticut.
Oh, you know about that. You know exactly what I'm talking
about. I know about that. Yeah. It's other states too that use it from. Yeah, that's a huge problem. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so what happened was, as the foundations rotted, these houses started collapsing and falling apart. Because without a secure foundation, the whole home is insecure. And in the case of that, in the very practical case is that, it cost thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to jack up the house, to rebuild the basements, the foundations, to resecure them. If you throw out biblical creation, you throw out everything, because it calls into account, well, obviously, was the Trinity really there if he didn't do it? If Jesus was the vehicle by which creation happened, but it didn't actually happen that way, it happened some other way, then you're calling in the character of God. Well, God's a liar. So is God real? Or if God's real, is he really the God of the Bible? What if he's not? What if he is something else altogether? And if he's something else altogether, then all the other things about him that are said are just, you can't trust it at all.
Either the Bible is all true, or none of it can be trusted.
You cannot, in this case, pull out part of it. You can't really pick and choose. You can't have it both ways. You can't have, because we're hovering around it. You can't have both evolution and creation.
Correct.
Because if one is true, the other cannot be. And why? So you might say, well, there's space in there. How maybe it was the vehicle by which God did it. Well, then the question becomes, why didn't he talk about that?
Right.
Why he's very willing to explain how the flood worked. He's very willing to explain that what the days he made of creation. Why would he hide this? Why would he purposely not reveal it? So it's all true or it's not. And, the Bible isn't going to teach you, precision orbital mechanics on how the planets circle around the sun. Right. The Bible's not going to teach you about the water cycle and how water is recycled on the earth. It's not going to tell you the exact workings on the development of the eye, the human eye.
Right.
But what it's going to tell you is God did this over these period of 6 days and this is why he did it. He's a loving father who wants us to know that he did it, but he's not necessarily going to, in the Bible, because it's not really doing that. It's not going to explain the mechanics on how it occurs.
Yeah.
And so, how God did it, that's actually, I do believe science is for the enjoyment of the creation, because the Bible teaches elsewhere that it's the glory of God to conceal, and it's the delight of God to conceal, and the glory of kings to unveil.
Mm-hmm.
And so as you get those aha moments, as you discover things, that brings God pleasure. So as God sees us discover things in creation or in the scripture, it makes him happy. It's kind of like a dad when their kids open up a Christmas present. Like, they figured that one out. But again, if you attack creationism, not only does it change the inerrancy of the scripture, it attacks the person of Jesus, the character of God, it also hits basic relation where God creates man and female. And now that's one of the most under attack things right now is gender. And God had no error with gender because current contemporary thinking, that we are all, just plasma. We are bodies of mostly water, and we are just dirt and water.
Yeah.
Then what's the point of the gender you're assigned?
Right.
Why not? We were talking about Bruce Jenner. Why not destroy your body? You just, it's just a bag of meat that has no purpose.
Yeah.
And so male and female become completely arbitrary if there's no God.
Mm-hmm.
Again, another thing is the marriage precedes the fall. Marriage is one of the first acts, the first events in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So God creates man, then God creates woman, then God creates marriage.
Yeah.
And suddenly, marriage is made perfect. It's made to be perfectly between one man and one woman.
Yeah.
When you throw out creation, marriage ends up being nothing more than a legal document between at least two consenting parties.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see now the reappearance in the West in the last few, and this has been in the news the last couple of weeks, especially the last 2 weeks, the reemergence of polygamy, because marriage is just a consenting document between one or two or more parties.
Right. Yeah.
If God in creation made marriage perfect, he didn't make Adam and Eve and Eve and Eve. He made Adam and Eve done.
Right.
So it establishes for us the means and the outlook of what these things should look like. As we attack this key doctrine, we are undermining not only the Bible, but we're also undermining the foundations by which our whole of our civilization in the West stands. You might say that sounds like really big, or like, come on, are you serious? But there's a reason why they're attacking creation so vigorously.
Oh yeah,
they've gone after it on purpose, because if we're all just animals, then we can just treat each other like animals.
Yeah.
If
you destroy the foundation of all of the Bible, period, and that's what they're going after.
And then if you do that, you destroy the people of the Bible, and then in which case they have no ground to stand on. So the doctrines of Genesis are pivotally important that you understand what it says. Now, Ken, I want to get your thoughts on this. I actually don't think that most current moderns under the age of, let's say, 70 have a problem with you and I saying God made the world in 6 days. I don't think people are really having a problem with Christians believing in supernatural things. I think their problem is the ethics that come from what we're talking about. Like, oh yeah, God made everything. That makes sense to me. Yes, but he made male and female. That's where I think they're going to go like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah, we're seeing more of that for sure.
I think that's what's the hang up today is not, hey, Jesus is God. They'll probably say, yeah, that makes sense. That's what the Bible teaches, right? I think they're going to say, oh, and he says I have to live which way?
Right.
And so when we look at creation, we can say, hey, look, yeah, God made, it's after 10 o'clock. I'll say an adult thing. God made marital intimacy between man and woman exclusively in the context of marriage.
Yes.
And if you're outside of that, you're outside of what God has ordained as right, and you're in sin.
Yes.
And so that's the problem there. If we can destroy that foundation and say, well, that wasn't real anyway. So do what you'd wish. What we're doing is people are trying to excuse their actions. And so one less thing that is helping people to live rightly removed will help people live wrongly, even more so. Yeah, I've just come to this conviction lately. We do need to know how to defend creation. We need to understand what it means. But ultimately, I don't think that people are having a problem with us saying the Bible is perfect. I think they have a problem with then saying, and then it applies to you.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like, well, that's good for you, but you do you and me do me. You hear a lot more of that now. Well, that's, wait a minute here. That's, yeah. And I think that's probably a good point to stop at. And we continue that next week, because that's a great point. This is all about, I refuse to submit to God.
Yeah.
I want to live my own life the way I want to live it. And don't tell me what to do. You want to believe what you want, fine, but don't tell me how to believe. That's a big thing. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I think I was saying this the other day with somebody else. What do you think is the most popular Bible verse right now?
Do not judge.
Yeah, Matthew 7. Judge not lest you be judged.
Yeah.
People are like, John 3:16, right? It's probably like this between John 3:16 and judge not,
Yeah.
But that's really what it is. People don't want to experience. They want to live the way they want to live, and so they don't care if something like Genesis is removed, because it's just another. It keeps them. It's another excuse for them to allow themselves to do what they want to, that they think that they have the right to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Yeah, I think that's a good point to stop there. And I'm going to thank everyone for watching. And don't forget to click like and tell your friends. We'll put some shorts on this week so we can share them with other people. And
I wear shorts every week.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing shorts right now, actually. So, but yeah, we're trying to put more stuff out there for people to watch during the week as well. And my youngest son is spearheading that for us, so we can take care of that. So, but yeah, Dave, thank you for that for the session there. I definitely look forward to next week, because this is a great subject, and look forward to another podcast, same time, same channel.
Right? Hey. Yeah, so, this is a lot of fun, guys. I hope you have a great night. If you have any questions that you want me to look at or can look at in particular as it relates to this topic over the next couple of weeks, just leave it in the comments below, and we will see what we can do to address that. If you have any question about any particular Bible comment, or we do like to have fun too. If you want us to look at something, let us know and we'll check it out. It's our joy to do it. It's a good time for us to hang out, but it's also a good time for us to, hang out with you too, because we enjoy this. So let us know in the comments below. Leave us a like, as Ken said, and I hope that you'll have a really good night.
Definitely.